All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We're here for another episode of our Legends of Eden Prairie Cross Country and Track right now. And we are pleased to have Kyle Bratrud, a 2010 graduate with us right now. Kyle was an outstanding cross country and track runner for us at Eden Prairie. Probably more well known as an outstanding Nordic skier, not just at the local level, but nationally and internationally as well. So, first of all, before we get into that stuff, Kyle, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks
Um,
for having me.
why don't you give us a little background? How you got into running and skiing? How you kind of progressed your high school career, and then kind of touch on a little bit what you did in college, down the road, and everything.
For sure. Yeah, I got into running at CMS, joined the middle school team. I'd done baseball, basketball, some other sports growing up. But yeah, in middle school, got introduced to running and really liked it. And so I continued on in high school. And that was also where I got into Nordic skiing. And yeah, ran and skied throughout high school, which ended up giving me an opportunity to ski in college. I ended up choosing skiing because my rationale was that I would be able to run a lot for training for skiing. But if I was just running, I don't think I'd be able to ski too much. Um, so yeah, I went to Northern Michigan University and skied there for 4 years. And then I was a professional skier for 5 years, and I just retired a couple months ago. So yeah, but it all kind of connected, and yeah, it was a fun journey, and I'm excited for my next stage in life now, post sport.
And Kyle, you're a
Not that
very
I'll ever be done.
you're a very humble guy. You would never say this out loud, but or I should say unprompted. But tell me again about your professional accomplishments. You were USA champ, skiing the Olympic trials. Go through a few of that for our kids to hear that.
For sure. My senior year at in college, I won my first national championship, which kind of prompted me that maybe skiing professionally was something I wanted to pursue. So yeah, so then throughout the next 4 or 5 years, I won three more national championships and raced in three world championships. Yeah, and I competed in Olympic trials as well, although I ended up getting sick during that. I don't know if we want to talk about that now or later, but yeah, so I had some success. It started slow. I mean, I basically my freshman year in college was my first year skiing training full time for skiing. So I definitely felt like I was making pretty big improvements each year. But yeah, I had a lot of success in skiing.
One of the things that Kyle I've shared with our team is that do you remember running the lefty right meet in high school when we would have the
Oh
kids
yeah,
who were not in the section team would run the lefty right race, and we have a list of the kids, by ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and so on, that were the fastest times in school history. And you were on that list in ninth grade, and you've gotten bumped off the top 10, which I think is a cool thing, which it's good progress for our program.
that's a
But
good problem. Yeah,
but that's something that we've always talked about is that here's a guy who's a professional athlete, was an outstanding runner in the state as a senior, all state runner, and like that. But even as a ninth grader coming in, wasn't a varsity level kid. And sometimes you see those kids are phenoms. So I think it's kind of cool seeing where you've ended up as a professional athlete, and then also you started at a very entry level and worked your tail off to get better. For those who don't know, Kyle ended up running for us in our 2008 team, which was the state champions in Minnesota. They also went to the Nike National Championships and placed 14th, I believe, so top 15 place in the nation that year. And then as a
yep,
senior, our team did not qualify, but three of our boys qualified that year as individuals, which was crazy. And Kyle ended up being eighth in the section that year and then placed 12th in the state. So it's pretty impressive, and it speaks to our strength of our section again. But have an outstanding year. Then in track that year, I think your PR was a 9:28 and 3,200, which is an outstanding race.
I think so.
Placed, and that was, I think that's still ninth in our school's history. You were higher than that a couple of years ago, but that's certainly some big accomplishments there as a runner. Go back to when you think back to your high school days, Kyle, at Eden Prairie. What are some of the memories you have of workouts or races or things with your teammates? And it kind of tied into that, like what were some of the lessons you learned that you think were applicable in both your athletic and your life career?
Yeah, well, actually, my college career kind of follows similar tracks, where I was a talented athlete, but I definitely was nowhere near the best, and I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by just a really hardworking, accommodating group of guys that really created this positive environment where it was almost like addicting to work hard. And so yeah, I basically worked my way through high school and got better every year, and took the steps from lefty right the first year, and then the next year getting on to running varsity, and then making conference teams and section teams, and going from looking and watching people run in varsity races to running alongside of them. And I was very fortunate to have Aaron alongside of me the entire way, always one step ahead of me. And it was, it was just that sort of environment that continued to build. And then when Aaron and I were older and we had the grade above us with, lots of fast guys, I'm sure you've talked about them. And that was just like my junior year when we won state. That was probably one of the more satisfying years. For sure, my most satisfying year in high school, in terms of just being a team and knowing that if we performed at our best, we had a chance to win state, and we were all pushing each other to be our best, and all held each other accountable, and also had a ton of fun doing it. I mean, we were always very loose, but at the same time very focused on the tasks. So those are the things that I remember. When you had said that I was 12th in state, I didn't remember that. I don't remember the results as much besides us winning state. That's a memory I'll never forget. But it's the little moments, the workouts, the Dell Hills. I went and did that workout a couple times when I was skiing and I was back in the cities, just because I wanted to see how I could do. And those are the memories that I'll always remember, is those hard workouts, working hard as a group, and improving as a group. And I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about running, is that you can have a great race yourself and also be super pumped about everyone else having a good race. And it's something that I missed a little bit in skiing, where it was more results-based. Times really weren't applicable. It's fun to finish a running race and have a PR, and then look over and 3 of your buddies also have a PR. That's the addicting part about it. So, and then, as I said, in college, it followed a similar thing, where I started out having it be my first year training for skiing full time, and I worked my way up, and basically I went from my junior year placing, I think my best finish was 22nd at nationals, and then my senior year I won nationals by a minute. So a pretty big improvement after building for 4 years. So,
Sure.
It's not that complicated of a formula, really. You get a bunch of good, motivated guys and girls that are happy together and like to work hard, and it's pretty amazing what can happen.
Exactly it. We're in the middle right now in 2020 of this quarantine, and unfortunately, our track season's been canceled. We already know that, and we are looking ahead to next fall with certainly the hope that we're going to have a cross country season in the fall, and we'll be able to have our summer miles workouts and everything. But it's one thing we've talked about as a team, is that there's certainly some unknowns out there, and you can't dwell on the unknowns. And I think back to in 2018, I want you to walk us through that. You qualified for the Olympic trials. And if I remember, we're in a very good situation. We had a very solid shot at qualifying for the Olympics, and
For sure.
got sick. Certainly, very close. I remember, very close to the trials, and that obviously affects you as an athlete. How do you deal with a setback like that? How do you overcome those things? Talk about that a little bit.
For sure. Yeah. So 2018, I was high up on the list. It basically was a list of your top races. The most input came from nationals, so I needed to have a good nationals. I flew up to Anchorage and ended up getting pneumonia up there. So sick in Anchorage, not the best, but so I didn't race very well there. I didn't make the team, obviously. That was one of my biggest sporting goals up to that point, so I was pretty disappointed. It took me a little bit of time of feeling sorry for myself, but I got back to Marquette that winter, and I basically had like a month or two where I was just recovering, and I wasn't in a place to race, so I was just kind of getting back. And I took the time to really just enjoy the beautiful winter that we had in Marquette, and I was just skiing a lot, and just remembering why I like to ski. And yeah, I mean, even just talking to you now, and I think back about all this stuff, like it's the journey of training and working hard. That's what you remember. You don't remember, ultimately the races. So like I would say for everyone looking ahead to cross country season is to train and enjoy running like it's going to happen. And, we'll see what happens. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but you'll always have the memories of the training. And the beautiful thing about endurance sport, especially, is the training is just money in the bank. So maybe the season doesn't happen, but running's an easy sport to be able to do during this time. And if for some reason it doesn't happen, then you got that in the bank for track or cross country the next year, whatever it ends up being. But yeah, I would just say just enjoy being able to go outside and take advantage of why you like to run and like why you do it. I mean, I think everyone who's running cross country obviously likes to run. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. So there's more than just the racing.
No, that's a great.
And just enjoy this opportunity to better yourself and remember to look around and enjoy the things that make you happy, and just have a little bit of a pause in our really busy lives. But
that's a great perspective just to look at it in terms of that. I appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
Kyle, just one last question. You've kind of touched on some advice for kids and like that, but one question I jotted down here is there any, as you from a distance now look back at Eden Prairie High School, and you still text me frequently, and you're keeping an eye on our team, which I always like that our alumni are doing that. What are some traditions or culture that you hope our team still represents? So when you were there, we were proud of Eden Prairie cross country because of this. What would you say that is that you hope our kids continue to do?
Yeah, I mean, I always just remembered the Eden Prairie group as the group that worked as hard as they could and held themselves with in high regard. And I mean, a specific tradition I know when I was running varsity, we would always collect grass in a Gatorade bottle and give it to whoever we felt had the best race. So it doesn't need to be that thing specifically, but we had that kind of bonding thing that I know was around many years before me. I don't know if it's still a thing.
Still is there. Yep.
Something like that. It's that sort of thing where you're like connected with the people that have come before you and the people that will come after you, and it just helps you remember that you're all striving for a common goal. But yeah, I would just say like hard work. I mean, as long as I can remember, the team has always worked hard, and maybe the results aren't always what we wanted, but it won't be for a lack of trying. It's sometimes the cards don't get dealt your way, but I mean, I'll always remember the team for being extremely hardworking and very respectable and accommodating for everyone. And I have full confidence that that's still the case.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, Kyle, we really appreciate taking the time to speak with us this evening. And as always, don't be a stranger. Come back when you're in town, come to practice, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.